Welcome to Studio 5. Recording artist Danny Gokey has new music. A new film follows the fight against trafficking, and a champion wrestler reaches his breaking point. Plus, the countdown of the top 5 stories in the world of uplifting entertainment. Here are your first 2. At number 5.
Please welcome back to The Late Show, 4-time NBA champion and now Olympic gold medalist, Steph Curry.
France called him the devil following this year's Olympic win for Team USA. But Steph Curry's faith in God is front and center in his post-game interviews.
Your Instagram bio says Philippians 4:13. And I'm curious what that verse of Philippians is from the letters of St. Paul and what it means to you.
When I was a freshman in college at Davidson College, North Carolina, my mom texted me before my first practice, and she gave me a bunch of words of encouragement. And her favorite verse was Romans 8:28. So she's like, you need to pick a verse that you can go to when your times of need and give you that inspiration. So Philippians 4:13 was for me, and I still write it on my shoes to this day. Every pair of shoes.
You put 4:13 on there?
Philippians 4:13 with the little I can do all things, and it's just a great reminder. Obviously, you're always searching for purpose and why you're here, and for me, that's it.
At number 4.
The Wild Robot by Peter Brown.
Actress Lupita Nyong'o observes National Reading Day, sharing the book, which is now an animated movie, with herself in the starring role. It's in theaters September 27th.
Hello, I am Rosem, Unit 7134, but you may call me Roz. While my robotic systems are activating, I will tell you about myself.
The remaining 3 uplifting entertainment stories are coming up. Right now, recording artist Danny Gokey first made his musical debut in Season 8 of American Idol, making it all the way to the top 3. His new music project is a unique fusion of sounds. He calls it the sound of heaven. Tell me about the process. I think this is 5th project for you.
5th project.
I've been listening to the sound of this world. This place is crazy, makes me want to stay in bed. I've been counting all my worries and my problems. I gotta stop to count my blessings instead.
The same process I did with all the other albums, maybe more so as I grow into this. Lord, what are you saying? What is the sound? What is the lyrics? Because if we say what he says, it's much more impactful. Just not that great, right? He's the greatest artist of all time.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. Can't believe I get to do this life again.
That's where the faith step starts in that. And I just dug in, and you know how God always does. He says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your understanding. It's my favorite part here. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he'll direct your path. And so that's what I did, by faith. And now that all the pieces came together, I just love, because the sound of heaven really means I'm a diverse kind of artist. And what I mean by that, it's not me patting myself back like, yeah, I'm different. Not that at all. I grew up with a lot of culture.
Yeah, I can hear the sound of heaven, and it sounds like joy to me.
So that's all infused into this album. Worship, praise, CCM, Afrobeats, which has been like the new thing I've been for the last couple of years. Reggaeton, soulfulness, it's all wrapped up in there. So when I wrote the song Sound of Heaven, because I didn't know how this album was going to be. In America and a lot of the world, there's this type of music, genres. Radio stations are Christian, country, gospel, country, rock, you name it. And I was like, man, where do we fit? And then I wrote the song Sound of Heaven. I was like, this is how it fits. This is how it fits. And just the Lord just wanted me to be my authentic self. And so I think that album's going to encourage a lot of people. All that to say, I can try to sit there and try to sell it, but I do believe, and I've heard back already, people are being encouraged by it. God is using it. It's healing hearts, healing souls, and I'm thankful for that.
If you had to pick one track, you can't pick Sound of Heaven because we already talked about that one. If you had to pick one track from the project now that would be the favorite in this moment, what is it?
Well, you mentioned the word moment. I have a song called, and truly it's called Only for a Moment. The lead song off the album right now is I Got You, and that's doing really well at radio. But Only for a Moment, it used the metaphor of a seed dying. And how, so even now there's hope buried in the hurt. before the bloom of a rose is a season in the dirt. You know, so right away it starts with that metaphor of kind of like in the process of dying and things around you dying, and not a very fun experience, but essentially telling people, hey, don't give up just yet. You know, it says, don't dig up those roots just yet. He's watering the ground. The promise of tomorrow stands on what he's doing now. It's only for a moment, so keep holding on. You know, it won't be long. So I hope people find a lot of encouragement in that.
Yeah, I can hear the sound of heaven.
Sound of Heaven is available right now wherever you purchase, download, or stream your listening material. Danny is also on tour with recording artist Torrin Wells. It's called the Take Back Tour. Go to dannygokey.com/tour for more information.
City of Dreams.
That's your son?
Yes.
Got any ID for the boy?
Yeah. A film inspired by a painful collection of real-life events.
While Sound of Freedom talked about this problem, abroad, City of Dreams is shining a light, showing how it's happening right here in the United States.
The producer joins us next. At number 3.
Two movies we've covered here are doing well at the box office. Preliminary estimates from box office numbers from Mojo.com show the film Reagan, starring Dennis Quaid, finished number 3 this weekend and has brought in more than $18 million after 2 weeks in release. It tells the story of former President Ronald Reagan's life, his faith, and his political career.
I call upon the scientific community, those who gave us nuclear weapons, to turn their great talents now to the cause of mankind and world peace.
And The Forge came in at number 6, grossing nearly $21 million after 3 weeks. The film is about a young man with no plans for his life who discovers how God could have a greater purpose for him.
You need to be more of a fountain than a drain. And you need to start giving more than you're taking. The more I thought about it, I was using people to reach my own goals without loving them at all. And that's the thought that I have for you today.
At number 2.
I want to tell you a little story. A few months back, my friend Woody Guthrie and I, we met a young man.
It's an early look at the film about the rise of one of the most iconic singer-songwriters in history.
He dropped in on us out of nowhere and he played us a song. In that moment, we got a feeling we were getting a glimpse of the future.
A Complete Unknown is the story of Bob Dylan, coming to theaters Christmas Day.
Oh, where have you been, my blue-eyed son?
And with that, we've got just one more story to share in this week's countdown. It's coming up in just a little bit. Now we turn to City of Dreams. It's the true story of a young Mexican boy whose dreams of becoming a soccer star are shattered after being trafficked across the border.
Jesús, échale ganas del otro lado.
Atelintech mama witia intonali. No tlactocatzine. Tihuel cuinacuilis intonali. Vamos, mijo.
¿Y el chamaco, cómo está?
Está listo. Es bueno, es bueno.
Es la decisión correcta para toda la familia.
So I'd like to begin with the origin story, if you will. Where did this story begin for you? What happened?
Well, it really started probably back in the early 2000s when Steve McAvity, who's Mel Gibson's producer back then, he did Braveheart, When We Were Soldiers, and they were working on this movie called Passion. While I was there, Mel and Steve and a third person suggested I meet this guy, Eduardo Verástegui.
Mañana vas a salir a jugar a la cancha? No, no, no.
And sometimes I just get a whisper to my soul. Some people call it gut. To me, that gut is God. And I just knew I was supposed to help him. And together we started a film production company. We made a movie called Bella. We made many films since then. Little Boy, Cabrini, Sound of Freedom.
I know there's more of them in there.
Well, fake passport isn't going to cut it.
Yes, sir.
These people have no criminal history whatsoever.
City of Dreams, like Sound of Freedom, is a very powerful film. It is a heroic thriller about a little boy who had a big dream to be a soccer star. And unfortunately, that dream became a nightmare when he was kidnapped, trafficked across the border, and sold to a sweatshop in downtown Los Angeles.
It's cozy, right? Come on. Come on, homie.
And a lot of people ask if this is a true story. Unfortunately, there's too many true stories like this. And he's one of 12 million innocent children who are victims of modern day slavery, which is more than all 300 years of the transatlantic slave trade combined. Not to water that down, but it's just ridiculous that in this day and age, that this could actually exist here in America.
You know how we do, homie. You crush it.
When I learned about this problem, I realized someone had to do something, not just to entertain, but to have the potential to change, protect and save kids' lives.
Go.
I'm Elena. Good night.
What's your reaction when you're sitting in the theater for the very first time and you're watching this, when you did get to see it? What was your gut reaction to seeing it?
Well, I would say that, like anyone who sees it, it is powerful. And the most important thing I take away at the end is just how impressive and courageous this young boy is, to fight not only for his own freedom, but to liberate all the other children. And I just, it inspired me, because I've faced far fewer obstacles in my life. And I hope it inspires everyone who sees the film. And yes, we want to entertain people. Some of the people in the team hope to win an Oscar. But the truth is, the majority of the people just want to protect and save the Oscars of the world. These innocent children who are being exploited for labor, for sex, and the unthinkable for their organs. And this is happening now. For evil to prevail, good men must do nothing. We've got to fight back. It's a $150 billion industry. It's 4 times the size it was in 2008. And it's one of the fastest growing criminal enterprises in the planet. And most people aren't talking about it. So we've got to talk about it. And to the extent that people see it, they're more likely to feel it. And when they feel it, they're more likely to act. And that's what I think is the power of movies.
What is the truth? The truth is that as much as we want to be free, we live and we die together. This is America.
City of Dreams is in theaters right now. We need to take a quick break, and as we do, it's time to share this week's story in pictures. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot.
We celebrate a long life well lived, honoring and remembering distinguished actor James Earl Jones. He died in Dutchess County, New York this week at age 93. Known for his resonant voice, Jones performed numerous and versatile roles on the stage and screen in a career that spanned 70 years. He was the voice of Darth Vader in Star Wars, beginning in 1977, a reclusive author in Field of Dreams in 1989, Admiral James Greer in 3 movies based on Tom Clancy novels, and Mufasa in The Lion King in 1994. James also read the New Testament on tape. He was a member of the exclusive class of EGOT winners, meaning he earned an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award. A look at his life well lived is this week's Studio 5 snapshot. Just moments away.
I wasn't happy with wrestling. I wasn't happy with where I was in life.
A champion wrestler reaches his breaking point. See what nearly knocked him out for good, and what got him back in the ring. At number 1.
There are a lot of folk that no matter what color they vote, they have lost hope in the future of our country. I see it.
The popular PureFlix franchise God's Not Dead grows with a 5th installment this week. God's Not Dead, In God We Trust.
Why was America, what was it built on? What were the principles that it was built on? And that's really what God's Not Dead, In God We Trust is all about.
David A.R. White is back as Reverend David Hill in the story that centers on issues like freedom of speech, religious liberties, and the role of faith in public life.
This is a fight for the soul of our nation. We're at a tipping point, I really believe, in this country. Democracy was always fragile, so we have to have our faith. This movie is going to be, I think, really even more powerful, or just as powerful as the first one. 40 million Christians don't vote. And another 15 million aren't even registered.
It's in theaters September 12th.
That's one of the great things about these films, is that there's something in them for everybody, you know, and there's something in there for families and all ages.
In God we trust.
Welcome back to Studio 5. David Carr has wrestling in his blood. He's a two-time NCAA champ, and his dad was an Olympic gold medalist. And both say trophies and accolades are nothing when compared to a relationship with Christ.
When I won my first state title, I was like, wow, like I did it. I'm feeling like on top of the world. And that's why I kind of knew, like, man, I can be pretty good at this.
It's a pleasure to welcome right now to the 700 Club, Nate Carr. Nate, I'm glad to have you.
Having a dad like Nate Carr, you know, multiple national champion, he's in multiple Hall of Fames, he wrestled in the Olympics, like, it was kind of tough because they just expect you to know what to do, they expect you to be really good.
All the things that we win down here on earth, all the medals and trophies, they're going to pass away. But one thing that you can be sure of is that if you're in Jesus Christ, he's going to give you eternal life.
My dad's so humble, I didn't even know how good he was, really. He didn't really talk about winning that much. And he was a pastor for a really long time after coaching. And so, like, most of our conversations were more about faith, character, integrity. And then as he started to get back into wrestling and coaching wrestling, that's when I kind of was like, oh, you know, I'm trying this wrestling thing. I wasn't very good at first, and I knew that he could help me, though, as I started to grow, and I found that he was very knowledgeable with the wrestling, the faith, the lifestyle it took to be a champion. Even though, you know, I'm saved, I'm a Christian, I hadn't, like, really found a way to have that change in my heart, that softness in my heart. So I wouldn't do anything too crazy, but I definitely wasn't living a life that was honoring to God, I would say. And then finally, trying to live for just my own pleasure and my own life, I came to a breaking point. I wasn't happy with wrestling. I wasn't happy with where I was in life. And I just got on my knees and said, man, like, I tried to do it my way. I tried to do the double life, go to church, and then do whatever I want, really. It's not working out. I feel broken, I feel empty. And there's this void that I have inside me that no matter how many championships I win, how many people tell me how great I am, I can't get that in there. It's not gonna change me. There's something that I can't be filled. And then I just got on my knees and it's like, I just wanna live for you. I don't care if I win another wrestling match again. I was hungry for the word. I was praying, I was in community. Before, I didn't have community of people challenging me and holding me accountable. After that moment, I found that community and changed my life into the point of, like, man, I want to be so bold with my faith because Jesus Christ is, because he's changed my life. It's crazy because I was like, I don't even care about wrestling right now. I just want to get close to my faith. But as I did that, he just blessed me so much in the wrestling part because I was more free. When I was like, you know, I'm just going to focus on my faith, I was like, man, I've already won with Christ. It's in God's hands. I put my faith in him. If I'm a world champ or Olympic champ, that'd be awesome. But if I'm not, you know, not much will change in my character, how I view life, and how much I love other people. I just want everyone to have a relationship with Christ so that when they come to the end of their life and they get to hear, well done, faithful servant, and get to see the riches of heaven. That's the amazing part. That's something that I hope that everyone gets a chance to see.
David Carr also received the Dave Schultz High School Award, an award dedicated to the memory of Schultz, who was a multiple award-winning Olympian and world champion freestyle wrestler. Welcome back to Studio 5. Music helps us to bring you this show each and every week, and this week's soundtrack comes from Calvin Noel. Take a listen, and you'll hear why Fall Fresh is what's playing in my ear this week.
Fall fresh on me, God. Fall fresh, Holy Spirit. Fall fresh on me, Lord. Fall fresh, Holy Spirit.
On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5. So let's take a quick look at the rundown to see what's coming up next week.
Pick me up, gave me a brand new start.
It's a Studio 5 special with actor Dennis Quaid, exploring things you know and some things you didn't know.
One thing that I saw that I didn't recall or remember is you got to play with Tupac.
Be downtown, on the set, and we'd order Chinese food and have in the trailer, and we just talked for, every day. Spent a couple hours just talking, and about his mother, about his career, about acting. He had a real thirst to learn.
Be sure to join us next week for that story and so much more. As for this week, we've got time for just one more thing. Let's give the final word to Danny Gokey.
If you could go back in time and speak to little Danny, what advice would you give him in light of all that you have seen and done so far in life?
Be sober-minded. In every situation, don't be intoxicated with fame. Don't be intoxicated with anger. Don't be intoxicated with greed. Don't be intoxicated with depression. To be sober-minded in every situation gives you the ability to think properly. And unfortunately, this world perpetuates a lot of smoke and mirrors, meaning you get on social media, it's all about people, and it's all about putting up a front, and it's all about, fame, fortune, all these different things, and it's intoxicating the culture and sex. It's intoxicating people and they can't think properly. And so the best advice that I would give to me and to people listening is in every situation, be sober-minded, which is the ability to properly think and not be overly swayed by all the emotions, all the different things this world shoots at us.
Danny, thank you. That is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back. See where Studio 5 takes you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye, everybody.